It's been another very busy week here, so this may be over a minute, but let's go over everything that happened here at the White House. The president gave a record-breaking joint address to Congress where he laid out his bold vision to renew the American dream. He introduced the world to DJ Daniel, a young boy fighting brain cancer who was sworn into the United States Secret Service. He honored Peyton McNabb, a young woman who was brutally injured playing sports with a man who should have never been allowed to compete against her in the first place. And he honored the memory of Jocelyn Nungre, a young girl who was murdered by illegal aliens, by renaming a wildlife refuge in Texas in her honor. And the president also honored Mark Fogel, an American hostage who President Trump freed from Russian captivity last month. Yet the Democrats stood for none of these incredible Americans and their heroic stories. They did not stand for no taxes on tips, the capturing of an ISIS terrorist, defeating inflation, unleashing American energy, or ending the fraud, waste, and abuse in our government. Also this week, First Lady Melania Trump held a roundtable discussion on online protection and the Take It Down Act, a bill that will add protections for children who are targets of malicious online deepfakes and attacks. This week, the president also kept his promise to the crypto industry, establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and hosting prominent crypto voices for a roundtable at the White House. We also had a historic Jobs Day, with nearly 20,000 manufacturing and automobile sector jobs created in 1 month. President Trump also met with 8 of the recently released hostages from Gaza and heard their stories. And after that meeting, he made it clear to Hamas, release all of the hostages or else. America is back, and we'll see you next week for the MAGA Minute. It's been another...
It's a political IQ test. And if it is, then the Democrats are failing it. Good morning. It's more than 2 minutes. That's not a MAGA minute. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here, especially Quest Fanning. How could we do a show without Dad Bod Baboon? Richard Bell, excuse me, Jose MMA, Andy Opperman, Mr. Embry, Grizz Cheese, Robbie Thurman, oh my lord, my Lanta. It's Amy J. Eves. Well, I do declare, who's Pamela K. Jones? Is today your first time here today, Pamela? Pamela. I want my Pamela. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Happy Monday. It's the 10th of March. The Ides of March approacheth. That's my wife's birthday. We're going to do something a little special this weekend. Make sure that on the day that Julius Caesar was stabbed in the back, that you don't stab us in the back. And just tell my baby girl happy birthday over there on X, will you? Steffi P for Liberty. Yeah. Political IQ tests, they're everywhere. The first 2 big ones we're going to talk about today. We've got the story of the viral J.D. Vance memes, which I'm told Michael Knowles from the Daily Wire thinks is like legendary status, that there's a true deeper meaning to all of the pictures that have been circulating with our vice president, J.D. Vance, placed in like situations that are, to me, innately hilarious. I asked people online to describe to me, what do they think the J.D. Vance meme phenomenon is all about? And some of them really, they think it's a really deeper sign of things. Other people, like me, think it's just funny. Maybe I'm failing the political IQ test. I've got a political IQ test for you today. Actually, I have several. I know it's a little bit early, but we are going to be taking a test today. Don't be mad at me. Yes. No, I have a political IQ test. No, you will have to... Yes. Shut up, Michael Scott. I've got a 10-question political IQ test for you. In light of stories like these, which strike me as IQ tests, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez teams up with Florida Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna for bill capping credit card interest rates at 10%. This bill, though it may not pass, will go down in history as the bill proposed by the hottest congressmen that have ever teamed up. If it were a wet t-shirt contest, Sign me up. But a bill capping credit card interest rates at 10%. Why do you hate poor people? We'll talk about that this morning. And the ups and downs, the lefts and rights, the jiggles, and a pop about this bill. Two millennial Congresswomen teaming up to cap credit card interest rates at 10%, policy that Trump previously pitched in 2024. Robbie Thurman donating $5. Wow, you guys are like being cool. What's with all the... To what do we owe the pleasure? Cecilia H. says she was wearing her Doge sweatshirt when we went to Walmart. A fat woman in her 50s and 60s yelled at me saying she is a part of the F around and find out generation. I've never laughed so hard. What the hell? As Cecilia has noted, Pamela, if you didn't know, all our newbies, we do have, oh my God, not the black screen of death. We do have a merch shop where you can get not only Doge merchandise, the best Doge merchandise in the world, in my opinion, but our Wake Up America show mugs. We wrote a children's book, Calvin the Coolest President, and our delicious Founding Flavors coffee is available for sale as well. It's very popular. John Bordenaro. We've got a million billion things for you. We've got political IQ tests. We're going to be talking about the J.D. Vance memes. It's Monday. We got John Miltimore from the American Institute of Economic Research. We'll ask him about the legislation to cap credit card interest rates. It's a good conversation to have, and we'll talk about why I think that that is an IQ test here in just a little bit. So we've got John Miltimore. He's going to talk to us about that, as well as a few other stories I think I've got for him. Oh, did you see this story about the White House during the Biden administration and him signing, I think, everything with an EpiPen? I think that, did Joe Biden sign any documents when he was president of the United States? Kind of a big scandal. This is the kind of stuff that we were conspiracy theorizing about during the election. And of course, when it's during election, everybody's like, oh, it's a lie. It's a making up for it's because it's the election season and stuff. But I honestly did not think that Joe Biden was doing anything. I think we heard rumors about him being a sundowner, where it's like as soon as the sun goes down in the White House, he's wandering around naked in the White House, and things are kind of weird. I mean, did he actually sign any of his legislation? It's a good question. We're going to talk about that this morning. We'll ask John Miltimore about that. And then I have this story it comes with the video. Two things that I want to talk about. One is the question of female-only gyms. Obviously, this chick started a female-only gym, and she had to issue an apology video because of what it qualifies as a female, right? So we're going to talk about that. I've got her video. And I'm going to talk to you about why I think we need some male-only gyms. And Stephanie will back me up on this, because we were at the YMCA on Saturday, and I swear to God, like, my wife is sitting right there next to me, right? So it's like, out of respect to her, right, I'm trying to avert my eyes. And we talked about it later, right? She, I didn't do anything inappropriate, but it's like, you got this ass right there, and it's in your face. And it's one thing to be in your face, and it's another thing to be like wearing basically underwear, and it's in your face. It's like that Flanders meme from The Simpsons, where he's got like the two strippers, and he's like, no, and they're like dancing up on him, and he's just like, no. I was like, I swear to God. So I'm like lifting my weights. I'm like, thank God I have a hat on so I can like pull my hat down and stuff like that. Because this chick is like grabbing the weights in front of me, right? And kind of like bending over and stuff. And it's like, I know she probably wasn't necessarily doing that like just for me or anything, like, but probably was doing it for all the guys who are surrounding there. It's like, we just want to work out, lady. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're great. You got a great body. Congratulations and all that. Like, good for you. I mean, Stephanie and I, we like to talk and look at people, go to the gym, people watching and stuff like that. And afterwards, I was like, honestly, I think we need men-only gyms. Men-only gyms. You want ladies, you get your ladies-owned gyms. You get men, you get your men-only gyms. And frankly, I think we need men-only gyms. I want to hear your thoughts on that one. Send me a text. 573-319-15. Nelson the 65 is like, yeah. 573-319-1586 is the text line. That's 573-319-1586. 1586. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. If today's your first time here. Donald Trump did an interview with Maria Bartiromo.
but they don't have to do that. They can do it in other ways.
Look, the Democrats say that Elon Musk and Doge are overstepping their bounds. You're right. What Elon Musk and Doge has been able to uncover is unbelievable. Half of us did not even realize.
And stop there. Because look, stop there. You just said, what he's done is unbelievable. Now, you could then add some, but what about he's found hundreds of billions of dollars worth of fake contracts, and I read them, just a tiny portion of them, the other night. Transgender surgery on mice, the money they're spending on all of this stuff, the whole thing's a scam. And you'll find ultimately that the money that they sent comes back to a lot of the people that made those deals, okay? You're going to find that. What he's also done is made people realize how many people should be cut. Because normally you go in and you say, all right, cut 4% of your workforce. He said cut 50%, 60%, 70%. That's a big thing. No, he's done a great job. And he's paying them.
Oh, man, the Democrats are doing everything they can to try and drive a wedge between Elon Musk and the administration. And so far it has failed, and I am so thankful for it.
Never seen before.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you said that.
We're going to have growth. I'm not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. No, we're going to get fraud out of there. You know, you see where I talk about it all the time. We have people 250 years old and all, tremendous fraud. But that has nothing to do with that. We're going to get the fraud out, and everybody wants us to get the fraud out, and therefore you'll make it better. But we're going to have tremendous growth. When you look at all of the car companies that are now coming into the United States, and they've been announcing, like on a daily basis, they're going to build their plants, and they're going to create tremendous numbers of jobs, and so many other things. And I'm doing something else that I think is very exciting. Maybe I'm wrong. A gold card. For $5 million, you buy a path to citizenship in this country. We'll see. I believe that Apple and all these companies that can't get people to come out of college and come because they get thrown out. Think of it. You graduate #1 at the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford, and you get thrown out of the country. You can't stay more than 1 day. And they want to hire these people, but they can't. They've complained to me about it. Now they can buy a gold card, and they can take that gold card and make it a part of their deal to get these top students. No different than an athlete, like a bonus. It's a signing bonus. And you're going to have a lot of people buy that. You're going to have a lot of companies buying gold cards. So for $5 million, now, it's a lot of money when you add it up if we sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
If we don't, it's nothing ventured, nothing lost. But I think it's going to be very successful. You can't get a green card. A green card, this would be a green card on steroids. This would be much better than a green card.
I don't think that the base is necessarily going to love this. Because what I'm hearing from most of the biggest MAGA Trump supporters is that they want zero immigration. They want to send people back. They don't want people coming in. But the president makes a good point here because he's talking about these corporations who are struggling to hire. And we, have these people who come here to the United States on student visas, and they get an education here, they get a degree here in the United States, and then as soon as they graduate, they have to go back to their home country. So now we've just educated this person and probably had taxpayer dollars expended to educate this person, and they've got to take all of their education back overseas. It doesn't make any sense. $5 million per person. Well, it's not like the H-1B visa program. It's very different from that. But, I don't know how I feel about it, to be quite honest. I know a lot of libertarians have talked about this possibility of buying citizenship. It sounds like a very libertarian thing to do, but I don't know if Trump's MAGA base is going to like it. Well, this is maybe a giveaway to the tech libertarians in the coalition. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on that. You can send us a text at 573-319-1586. The text lines are open, and it would be grateful to hear from you. Looks like we've already got some people hitting me up, and people are doing it all weekend. I apologize I hadn't checked them until today. I had a very busy weekend. I was doing some manly stuff this weekend. It was awesome. I went to Andy Opperman's dad's house. Steve, we went out to Tipton, Missouri, and saw his gun collection. It was so awesome. Dude, I threw an atlatl. Have you ever heard of an atlatl? Atlatl is like you go, instead of like hunting with a rifle or a bow and arrow, right? Like the most ancient hunting tool was if you had a spear, you would you have this little like launcher for the spear, and then you put the little tooth or something it is, and like you put the spear in the launcher, and then you just fling the spear using the atlatl. Brad had the best throw. Congrats, Brad. But I did hit the target somewhat, meaning I hit the thing that was holding the target, not the target itself. It didn't go past the target, and nobody got speared with an atlatl, so I'll call that a success. Yes. But we continue to move forward. I had to continue to move forward. I had a very exciting weekend. My neighbors are texting me right now because, first of all, my neighbor to the left almost, like, his house almost caught on fire. And then my neighbor behind me, their house, in a completely separate and totally completely unconnected scenario, they had a fire on their property as well. So I guess things are a little bit dry out here. And I was in the woods. I was gifted an axe by Andy Opperman's dad. It's a beautiful axe. I think I'll grab it during a commercial break and show it to you guys. But I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like that little racist chant that we used to do when we were kids. Racist, racist. You racist. But oh my God, did I ever feel amazing when I was double fisting my implements. I had the, dirty one, stop it. I had a machete in one hand and then an axe in the other. And I was just like hacking and slashing the bush. I chopped down like 3 trees yesterday. And I was like, oh yeah. Remember Tim the Toolman Taylor? Oh. Felt good. Hope you had a good weekend. If you're not feeling happy this morning because it's Monday and you had a bad weekend, I'll put you in a good mood by the end of this show. Guaranteed your money back. Hey, first you're going to have to give some money before you get a chance to get it back. Atlatl and Dart, yes. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Amy J.E.'s in Jam 77, Sign of Jonah, Dad Bod Baboon. We're all friends here today. Click the like button if you haven't already. If today is the first time watching the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you be a regular guest. This show is Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. Be glad to have you come back and join us for our regular schedule. If you click the follow button underneath the video stream, you should be able to get it. You should get a notification when we go live.
Meantime, guess what? Interest rates are down for the last 3-4 days at good levels. I mean, you know, when you add interest rates, you're talking about it's gone down. I've been saying, let's get interest rates down. You know, nobody ever gets rich when the interest rates are high because people can't borrow money. Interest rates are going down. You know what else is going down? What have I been trying to get down? Oil. Energy. Energy's going down. I'd love to see energy go down. You know, energy is really what caused it. They screwed up my energy. I had the most energy, and they screwed it up. Then they went back to it. It was going through the roof. They went back to some drilling, but it was gone. It was hopeless. It was lost. But energy's gone down and interest rates have gone up over the last week. That's a big thing. I love that. Meantime, guess what? Interest rates are down for the last...
Interest rates are down. Okay, well...
Well, I talked to Elon Musk quite a bit about what he's doing, and he's doing what I did when I became governor of Florida. You look at every program. So here's what he said. He is looking at every program he can. He's given information to agency heads, and they're making a decision how to go forward. But let me tell you, Americans are fed up. $600,000 for menstrual study cycle, or study menstrual cycles of transgender men, $300 million for a cement manufacturer in Gaza. I mean, $800,000 for gardening in El Salvador. Let me tell you, I just went through the campaign trail. People are fed up with wasteful government spending. And we've had a 2% increase in population in 5 years and a 53% increase in spending. We will not get interest rates down. We will not get inflation under control until we balance the budget. That's what we have to do. Mm-hmm. And Elon Musk is part of the process of balancing the budget.
Good. I like that we actually have an administration that's focused on cost cutting. Some of the proposals that are coming out of the administration, maybe not so good. 2 millennial congresswomen, not part of the administration, have become unlikely allies on legislation to cap credit card interest rates at 10%. This is a policy, though, that Trump had pitched previously on the 2024 campaign trail. Representative Paulina Luna and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they usually find themselves on opposite sides of most issues, unveiled legislation on Friday to immediately stop credit card interest rates from jumping above 10%. Luna says for too long, credit card companies have abused working class Americans with absurd interest rates, trapping them in an almost insurmountable amount of debt. She says we need a fair solution, and that means getting rid of the status quo and putting a reasonable cap on interest rates. Senators Bernie Sanders and Josh Hawley introduced a cap legislation last month. Ocasio-Cortez had been involved with similar legislation in the past, including a 2019 bill to cap interest rates at 15%. 15%? Wow. Oh, so the Republicans come in and cap it lower, but look, it's the socialists who 15%. Jeez, you can't trust those Democrats. Credit cards with high interest rates regularly trap working people in endless cycles of debt, she argued. At a time when families are struggling to make ends meet, we cannot allow big banks to shake down our communities for profit. Silence! Silence from the bimbo caucus. Quiet.
It sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Sounds like some commie gobbledygook to me as well, Norm MacDonald. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Hope that everyone is doing fine on this fine day. Make sure that you are clicking that like button. Dirty Mike says, my God, that mustache Austin has looks horrible. Grow a beard. No.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Sorry.
No!
Beards are gay. Mustaches are elite. Interest rate caps, of course, interfere with the natural pricing mechanisms of supply and demand. When rates are capped, of course, lenders can't charge enough to offset the risk of lending to high-risk borrowers. See, data from a 2021 Federal Reserve study showed that Oregon capped payday loan rates at 36%. Loan availability dropped by 27% for subprime borrowers. So this proves that caps would then shrink credit card access, especially for those who need it most, like low-income households. And of course, low-income households living paycheck to paycheck, they can't get themselves into scenarios sometimes where they can get $600, $800, $1,000, $1,500 saved. And so what happens is whenever they have an actual emergency, right, they usually need to go to a credit card to put something on, like, you know, a car repair on a credit card. But they wouldn't be able to do that in this situation. They're not going to be able to get access to the credit that they need. Aaron Kretschel says, not all beards, I assume he says, are bad. I didn't say bad, I said gay. I'm super. Thanks for asking. You just interpreted it as such. Mustaches are in, beards are out. It's the Wake Up America show. Didn't you see that one guy who's really interested in Israel, who was on Joe Rogan recently? He's got the mustache. That's what we're doing right now. Free market advocates believe competition, not government rules, spur better financial products. Capping rates could stifle innovation in the credit card industry. For example, the Credit Card Act of 2009, while it wasn't a direct rate cap, imposed restrictions that led to a 15% reduction in credit card offerings for subprime borrowers. We argue that letting banks set rates freely encourages them to create tailored competitive options instead of a one-size-fits-all government fix. Usually one size fits all is one size doesn't fit anybody when it comes to government policies. You know what I'm saying? You know, capping rates treats adults like they can't handle their own financial decisions. The average U.S. credit card interest rate hit 21.7% in 2024, but 44% of cardholders carry a balance. We say people who agree to high rates should face the consequences, not be bailed out by government meddling, and that should apply to institutional agencies that do risky lending. They should also have to suffer the fate of their own poor decisions, and they should not receive bailouts. Can I get another amen? You know, when revenue from interest is limited, banks often compensate by raising fees or tightening their terms, which means that the rest of us are going to get screwed by this. People who have actually been using credit cards responsibly and using credit responsibly, we are the ones who will suffer from a policy like this one. After New York imposed a 25% cap on credit card rates in the 1980s before federal preemption, late fees jumped 30%, and annual fees rose 22%. Well, that enough there should be evidence that caps don't lower cost. They just shift them, screwing consumers in sneakier ways. It's the political IQ test. I view interest rates as part of a private agreement between a lender and a borrower. Capping them violates the freedom to contract. The Supreme Court's 1978 Marquette decision let banks charge rates allowed in their home state, boosting competition nationwide. Credit cards got better. Reversing this with caps, they'd argue, undermines property rights. For instance, Delaware's lack of usury laws drew banks, creating 82,000 jobs by 2020. Caps could kill such economic benefits. Don't kill the geese that lay the golden eggs. Good morning, grist cheese. That's right. And they can't. Remember all those ARMs that allowed people to get into houses they couldn't afford because they can't read or understand the rate jumps in 3 to 5 years? Yes, I do remember. I remember quite well, grist cheese. Dirty Mike says, I pay my credit card every month, so I have to suffer for being responsible. I'll just go back to cash or debt. I'll be real with you guys. I'm so terrified of debt. I'm so paranoid about having debt or paying any interest on my cards. I pay my credit cards every single day. I do. I'm sure that the credit card companies hate me for that. And certainly when we do my taxes, all of these transactions that I make, it's definitely a pain in the ass. But I'm so paranoid about debt. And the problem is when your business starts to get big enough, right? And when you're doing, more than double digits each month in terms of numbers of business, and you've got a shop and we've got, our coffee flying out the shelves and doing things like that, all the accounting, it's just the accounting that terrifies the crap out of me, right? So, we get the QuickBooks solution, you get a little TurboTax Pro and everything integrates. That's nice. However, just handling the business on a day-to-day aspect, it's a psychological thing. Today I logged in and my credit card bill for the business was $1,000 and I was like, oh my God.
No, God! No!
So I'm like, pay it now, pay it quickly, right? Because if I waited until the end of this week, it would be something like $2,000 or $3,000, right? And I'm just like, oh God, right? That just scares the crap out of me seeing those huge balances. But it's just, if you want to run a business, if you want to run a serious business, a big business, a business that's bigger than just what me and my shoe closet here with my wife and Brad comes and sits over there, during the day. If you ever want to expand, if you ever want to grow, you're going to have big expenses. If you want to make money, you got to spend money. And we use our credit cards to build up points through the business, and we gamify everything. We try and make it all work. And, when you guys are watching the show, it helps make it work. Thanks for being here. So it's not all just financial stuff we're talking about this morning. I've got some other things as well. Trump's trade war with Canada escalates under new Prime Minister Mark Carney. Donald Trump has doubled down on his America First tariff policy, slapping 25% duties on Canadian imports like steel, aluminum, and timber. Now, this was a big campaign promise to try and boost U.S. manufacturing, but it's sparked a tit-for-tat trade war. I'll give you my tit, you give me your tat. Mark Carney, sworn in as Canada's Prime Minister after winning the Liberal Party leadership, isn't backing down. He's pledged dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs until the U.S., quote, shows respect. Excuse me. Oh, Canada, yeah. Now, for U.S. conservatives, Trump's tariffs are a win for domestic jobs. Of course, that destroys 8 jobs for every 1 job it creates. But I mean, who's counting? We can only see in economics what we see, and what is unseen shall not be mentioned. People who lose their jobs, they don't know that it was tied to the tariff, but they won't complain because they won't be able to say, oh, we could say it was directly from the tariff. But there was an estimate that was done by like the Peterson Institute of no relation that showed that the taxpayer had to spend $800,000 to save one $100,000 job, which goes to show that if we, the taxpayers, just like took the money that the government spends like from the tariff and the $800,000 to protect the job, if we just created the job ourselves directly, we could save $700,000 and just pay for the job directly. But when it goes to the government, man, it's funny how the money just never seems to go exactly where we want it to go with the government. No matter how much we try and centrally plan or try and engineer or protect jobs, it's amazing how the government just fucks every single thing up that it touches. You know what I'm saying? They just destroy everything. Second thing you need to know today, Trump moves to dismantle Biden-era gun rules. Thank God. Joe Biden's 2021 to 2024 executive actions included regulating ghost guns and tightening background checks for gun show sales. As of March 10th, 2025, Trump's DOJ is reviewing these rules, with insiders hinting at a full repeal by summer. Yeah, I love it. Yes, I love it. The NRA and Second Amendment purists are hailing this as a rollback of federal overreach, restoring rights to law-abiding citizens. Critics say it's pandering to the base. It's ahead of midterms, but no hard reversal has been signed yet, just discussion about intent. A big story, another story that we're watching this morning is the IRS audit spike in red states. Posts on X and conservative web chatter claim the IRS has upped audits on small businesses in GOP strongholds like Texas and Florida. Texas isn't a GOP stronghold. Missouri is the conservative stronghold. Missouri is the red state. Texas is like, yeah, there's some like rock solid conservatives in Texas. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, God, man, Texas, like they dropped the ball on COVID. I'll tell you that. No offense,
but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
But the IRS audit, they're saying, is something of a holdover from the Biden 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which boosted IRS spending by $80 billion. House Republicans like Jim Jordan are pushing hearings alleging political targeting. There's no public data that confirms this yet, just anecdotal reports. Conservatives see this as a deep state revenge post-Trump's win. Libertarians view it as more evidence the tax system's a bloated cudgel used against people's political enemies. Does anybody remember the targeting of the Tea Parties during the Obama years? Something to keep an eye on there. Texas Governor speaking of Texas Governor Greg Abbott reaffirmed his state's rejection of federal EV subsidies tied to Biden's climate goals. With oil and gas employing over 400,000 Texans, Abbott's betting on fossil fuel dominance, arguing it's cheaper and more reliable than EV infrastructure. I agree with him. Conservatives love, of course, the defiance of green tyranny. Libertarians cheer the free market choice over mandates. Not a big fan of electric vehicles. Although I'll say this, I don't think that all electric appliances necessarily are a bad idea. I have never used a gas-powered chainsaw, so I'll say this. I'll say that. But I will say that I do have a green chainsaw that someone got for me and Steffi for our wedding. They got us this really nice 16-inch electric chainsaw, and I'm sure it's probably very satisfying from like a manly perspective to have like a chainsaw. It's like, rah, 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 rah. But I'd say it's kind of nice to not have to wear ear protection in order to chop down trees and cut up trees for firewood and things. So I will say that I think that there are applications where, you know, electric, if you could call it a vehicle, right? Like delivery robots and things like that are electric and electronic, totally makes sense. I don't really think that electric vehicles make a lot of sense just based on how expensive they are, at least now. It's not to say that that couldn't change in the future, but electric vehicle mandates were always a bad idea. Good for Greg Abbott. Glad to hear it. The Supreme Court will hear arguments in late March 2025 on a case pitting conservative activists against big tech, think X or YouTube, over alleged censorship of right-wing voices, think things like shadow bans or deplatforming. This is stemming from a 2023 Texas law curbing social media moderation. It's a First Amendment showdown. Is it free speech? Is it corporate overreach? Trump's appointees told the court rightward, so conservatives expect to win. Libertarians hope it curbs tech monopolies without new regs. A ruling could hit before midterms, juicing GOP turnout if it's favorable. Big tech says they're just enforcing their own terms, but the stakes are huge for online discourse. I want to hear your thoughts, and that's the 5 things you need to know in news and politics today. We're going to have John Miltimore here at 8 a.m. here on the Wake Up America show. You don't want to miss John Miltimore. We call it Mondays with Miltimore for a reason. John Miltimore is a great mind, an advocate for liberty. We're going to talk to him about the news that you can use today. I also have a 10-question political IQ test for you today, guys. We're going to play that here in just a moment. Play that game. We're going to talk about women-only gyms, male-only gyms at the end of the show today. And this Love is Blind star who left her partner at the altar for not being liberal enough on Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ. As you could guess, you know my opinion is going to be he dodged a bullet. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, fish be cray. Electric chainsaws are only good for girl dads with crepe myrtles. What's a crepe myrtle? If you need to do legit storm cleanup, only gas will do. I don't know what a crepe myrtle is, but I fully recognize the superiority of gas chainsaws in emergencies, especially when you have to either go buy a backup battery for your chainsaw if you really have to work for a long time, or, you know, swap it out. You got to charge it. It's a pain in the butt. You can't just pour more gas into it and keep going. Which definitely stinks. There's definitely downsides to electric chainsaws. But for my property and for what I'm doing it, I think I worked outside 3 or 4 hours yesterday cutting down trees. The battery lasted the whole time. It was all good for me. I didn't need the gas. I saved money. There you go. We're going to go with this. Top 10. Oh, yeah. Before we get to the political IQ test, the shop. It's time to visit the shop. You must visit the For Liberty shop. This is an IQ test of how cool you are. If you go to my shop, you'll find nice products there. Everybody loves shopping. Shopping is fun. And yes, you can see right there, our Founding Flavors coffee is a staple. The Thomas's Painkiller, absolutely delicious. The #1 selling coffee in the shop is our Jeffersonian Java. It's delicious. Good morning, McMurdon. It's an advertisement time. The Gulf of America collection at forlibertyshop.com is hot. So hot right now. Everybody loves the Gulf of America Shark Beach Towel. But let me just tell you something, guys. For whatever reason, I mean, I like the whole synthwave vibe. I think the Gulf of America, this Visit the Gulf of America Synthwave Beach Towel was the first thing that we created for the Gulf of America collection. And it comes in 2 sizes. You get a huge size or a smaller size. And both of these are available exclusively at 4libertyshop.com. Our Gulf of America beach towels are selling like crazy. People love them. I don't know what the deal is with the beach towels. For whatever reason, people just love the hell out of the beach towels. I'm more of the 20-ounce tumbler guy. I just love this Gulf of America 20-ounce tumbler because it keeps my drinks really cold. And I drink out of it every single day, and it's just a really great thermos. If you love trolling your friends, get yourself a Gulf of America mug or tumbler and put that on your desk at work just to have a good time. Or maybe light a Gulf of America candle if you're allowed candles at your office or what have you. Gulf of America candles are fun and great. They also make great gifts for your conservative or libertarian or Trump supporting friend. Shirts also available at 4libertyshop.com. It's the Gulf of America collection. It's not all we've got, guys. Coffee, tea, or me. If you're thinking about coming on the APDC Liberty Tour, it's time to get those tickets. The buy one, get one ticket sale is going to go away soon. So go to 4libertyshop.com. Book your ticket today to join me and Hazel in Washington, D.C., May 1st to the 3rd. It's Revolutionary War weekend at George Washington's Mount Vernon. We're going to go watch the Revolutionary War reenactments. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hang out with your fellow freedom fighters and drink delicious 4 Liberty while you're there. So make sure you're visiting the 4 Liberty shop. Click on the Doge collection as well. Get yourself a Department of Government Efficiency field agent hoodie and join us in Washington, D.C. It's a cruel, cruel, cruel summer. Is everybody ready for a political IQ test, guys? I know it's early. Sorry to do it to you, but when you have AOC and Paulina Luna teaming up to introduce credit card capping legislation, it's time for a political IQ test. Jimmy Joe Patty says, I've done tree work on and off most of my life. Now I do set greens and film TV shoots. That's awesome. My steel battery chainsaw is perfect for the job. They just need to bring down the price of spare batteries. Thank you, sir, for the political IQ test that you passed. You can buy your IQ on the Wake Up America show over in the Rumble chat. You can drop Rumble rants, and therefore you don't have to take the test. Wouldn't it be amazing? Could you imagine if you were in school and you had a pop quiz, but if you had $5 in your pocket, you could pay the teacher, you could get out of it. You know what I'm saying? That would be. You can do that here. So if you don't want to take my political IQ test. If you don't want to take my political IQ test, then drop $5 in the Rumble Rants right now. Are we ready? Here we go. You got 10 minutes. I got 10 questions until John Miltimore joins us left. Here's a 10-question political IQ test for you. This is going to focus on principles, historical knowledge, and policy implications. Here we go. We've got multiple choice options, followed by a brief explanation of the correct answer. Here's the test, and then I will give you the answers so you can take it without spoilers. Are we ready? All ready? Here we go. Political IQ test. Number 1, what is the primary role of government according to... what is the primary role of government? How's that? Letter A, to redistribute wealth and ensure equality. AOC would say, yes, it's A. I don't need to hear the rest of them. To protect individual liberty and property rights is B. C is to regulate markets for maximum efficiency. Paulina Luna, probably all over that one. And D, to provide universal health care and education. That's Bernie Sanders and the Josh Hawley answer over there. So which one is it, guys? Is it the to redistribute wealth and ensure equality, to protect individual liberty and property rights, to regulate markets for maximum efficiency, or to provide universal health care and education? Let's hear it, guys. I want to see your responses over in the chat. Let's hear your responses over in the chat. Drop them in the chat. I got to see your responses. If you're not playing, remember, you had to buy your way out of it. Andy Opperman says B for the win. Damn right, Andy. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. We're taking a political IQ test here on the Wake Up America Show this morning. Why are we taking a political IQ test? It's because people don't seem to understand how capping interest rates would actually harm poor people. We also are looking at the J.D. Vance meme extravaganza, an unbelievable amount of memes posted by left-wingers, right-wingers, every single person that you can imagine posting political memes of J.D. Vance. He's posted as Jesus. He's posted as Mel Gibson. He's posted up as Norman Rockwell. It's really honestly been shocking to see how much memes, political memes of J.D. Vance have spread across the internet. And to me, that is also a political IQ test. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You can send us a text at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. Do you guys want to continue to play our political IQ test? Great. We're going to do it anyway. Number 2, which U.S. founding father is most associated with advocating for limited government and free markets? Is it A, Alexander Hamilton? Is it B, Thomas Jefferson? Is it C, John Adams? Is it D, Benjamin Franklin? Okay, so here we go. Which U.S. founding father is most associated with advocating for limited government and free markets? Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, or Benjamin Franklin? That's right, Joni Rankin. It's B. Yes. Political IQ test. Number 3. What economic concept argues that voluntary exchange benefits both parties without government intervention? What economic concept argues that voluntary exchange benefits both parties without government intervention? Is it A, Keynesian economics? Is it B, mercantilism? Is it C, the invisible hand? Or is it D, central planning? Okay. Let's hear it. Here are your responses. Which economic concept argues voluntary exchange benefits both parties without government intervention? Is it A, Keynesian economics, B, mercantilism, C, the invisible hand, or D, central planning? Quest Fanning, C, yes. The invisible hand. Adam Smith, coined by Adam Smith. The concept suggests free markets naturally align self-interest with societal benefit. That is a cornerstone of libertarian economics. Well done. Quest, you are the winner. All right, moving on to number 4. We're taking political IQ test here. If it's too early in the morning for you and you don't want to take the test, then you got to donate $5 into the Rumble Rant chats. I know it's early, and I'm squeezing you. On a Monday morning, Monday, the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution primarily protects the right to form militias only, the right to bear arms for self-defense and resistance to tyranny, the right to hunt and fish, or the right to government-issued weapons. The Second Amendment primarily protects the right to form militias, the right to bear arms for self-defense and resistance to tyranny, the right to hunt and fish, or D, the right to government-issued weapons. And get your answers in. Dad Bod Baboon, yes. It is the right to bear arms for self-defense and resistance to tyranny. Amen, baby, amen. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. We're taking a political IQ test before we switch topics and head over to speak to John Miltimore here in just a few minutes. Number 5, which of these policies would a libertarian most likely oppose? Oppose. A, reducing income taxes. B, legalizing recreational marijuana. C, implementing a national minimum wage. Or D, eliminating occupational licensing. Which of these policies would a libertarian most likely oppose? Reduce income taxes, A. B. Legalizing marijuana. C. Implementing a national minimum wage. Or D. Eliminating occupational licensing. Get your answers in. Larry the Legend, you are truly a legend. Are we having fun yet? Yes, it was implementing a national minimum wage. Yes, that would be what libertarians would oppose. Number 6, which historical event is often cited by conservatives and libertarians as an example of government overreach? Is it A, the New Deal? Is it B, the Louisiana Purchase? Is it C, the Civil Rights Act? Is it D, the American Revolution? Which historical event cited as an example of government overreach? A, the New Deal. B, the Louisiana Purchase. C, the Civil Rights Act. D, the American Revolution. Dirty Mike, you are correct, sir. Actually, trick question, all of them. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. John Miltimore is sending me invitations. I haven't finished my test. You know what we're going to do? We're going to finish it later. Too bad. So sad.
God! No!
Don't go away. I'm just going to go to a very short break, not a very long break. I'm going to go get John. Maybe I'll ask him some of these questions. We can play along with him. We'll talk to him about capping credit card interest rates. We'll talk to him about the J.D. Vance memes. We'll talk to him about Joe Biden's EpiPen. It's going to be a great second hour of the show. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
Top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption. And that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down. And could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
Yeah. There's a political IQ test for you. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. Glad and thankful to have you here. Click that like button, and if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you be a regular guest. Introduce yourself in the chat and click the follow button underneath the video so you'll get a notification whenever we go live, which is every 5, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9, 2-hour live political news talk show. People like Pamela K. Jones joining us live here in the morning show, and I haven't seen Pamela before. I love seeing newbies. Pamela, we hope you'll be a regular guest. We're taking political IQ tests here. Can we get off the government teat? What will it mean for the economy when we shift the spending from the public sector to the private sector? Well, I think it'll be a good thing, but we also kind of need free trade. And maybe we don't need to regulate credit card interest rates because people who misuse them shouldn't force the rest of us to have to suffer. I don't know. It's a political IQ test. We're taking an IQ test this morning. You don't have to play, but if you don't play, you have to pay. Can you imagine taking a pop quiz at school, and instead of having to take the pop quiz, you say to teacher, here, let me just slip you a $5. These days with inflation, you got to pay your teacher $20 not to take the pop quiz. But I'm going to give my next guest a pop quiz anyway, because he's not going to pay me. I should be paying him. John Miltimore from the American Institute of Economic Research. How you doing, John?
Hey, I'm doing good this morning, AP. How about you?
I'm doing better now that you're here and you're on time per usual. Political IQ test. Here's a question for you. Which philosopher's ideas most influenced the U.S. Constitution's emphasis on individual rights? This is a multiple choice. Which philosopher's ideas? Wait. Let me give you the
okay.
A. Karl Marx. B. John Locke. C. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. D. Friedrich Nietzsche.
Wow, I think we all know it's Karl Marx, right? No, I'm kidding. It's B. John Locke.
Yes.
Thank God they were reading Locke and not more Rousseau.
Life, liberty, and property. As also, they were heavily influenced, I hear, by Ron Swanson and his Pyramid of Greatness. Ike Giving a Shits. He's opting out of the remaining testing. Dropped $5 in the tip jar. Thanks, Ike Giving a Shits. We appreciate you very much. Let's talk to John Miltimore about this interest rate question. Capping interest rates at 10%. Here's the thing. It sounds like a really stupid idea, but when I see the photographs of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez standing next to the Republican Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, and they're both really hot, I start feeling kind of sexy. And then I'm like, maybe it is a good idea, right? So if you're hot, then you can suspend the laws of economics, right?
You know what I think you're saying is we need more pictures of Josh Hawley and Bernie holding charts than Luna and AOC. You might be onto something there because, yeah, Bernie and Hawley are pushing the same legislation. And it makes me wonder if these guys have if they even know how credit card markets work at all. Like if you were trying to sell this, like the average interest rate, even subprime or even prime lenders are paying rates well over 10% typically. So this idea that we're going to just where did 10% come from? Like, I don't think they could tell you where that number came from. I think they pulled it out of a hat, we'll say, to put it politely. And this would have all kinds of repercussions in credit card markets, and we can't even guess, all of them. Some are pretty obvious. You would see credit card companies catering to prime lenders. They're not going to give credit cards to people that are, at low rates that are high risk. That's not how things work. You'd have, probably real predatory lending that would become, a thing when people need to pay bills. They'll go to a pawn shop or a loan shark. We'd see, all kinds of repercussions, throughout credit card markets.
Now, I think New York did something like this. So in the 1980s, New York imposed a 25% cap on credit card rates. Then late fees jumped 30% and annual fees rose 22%. So you think they're going to put a cap on annual fees and late fees?
Well, that's just it. Like this is, another thing I was going to say. What we'd see is the whole structure for payment would change. Okay, we're going to lower the interest rate. Yeah, here is going to be where we're going to make our money up in fees. The other thing too, think about credit card rewards, right? Think about I don't pay interest when we use our card all the time. Guess what? We pay our bill. We never have to pay any interest on our credit card. We just get free stuff, and it's great if you use your credit card right. It's a great deal, and I get it. People sometimes you got to make ends meet, and you got to say, okay, I'm gonna take out a bit, and over the 6 months I'm gonna work to pay that back. You might be paying a steep interest rate, but remove credit card access to people. This would be kind of a nightmare scenario, I think, for a lot of families. The average American household has about $10,000 in credit card debt. They don't like having that debt, but they might be in a situation where they have no choice. And for lawmakers to come in here and say, "Oh, we're going to put a 10% cap," what you'd see is the credit card market overnight shrink by about, I hate to hazard a guess, but we're talking probably 80-90%.
Yeah, it's amazing how people, whether it's like credit card interest rates or whether it's tariffs, there's what is seen and then there is what is unseen, right? There are always the people who are never factored into this, who are impacted by this, that the people who are writing the legislation never really consider, right? Because, for example, whenever steel tariffs go up, then all the companies that have to buy steel have to lay off workers in order to because they have to spend higher amounts of money on costs. So I think I was reading Walter Williams the other day, and he was citing some study from the Peterson Institute, and it was like, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, the unseen cost of saving jobs with tariffs. Here was the study. A study by the Peterson Institute for International Economics predicted that saving those 1,700 jobs in the steel industry would cost American consumers $800,000 per job in the form of higher prices. That's just the monetary side of the picture. According to a study commissioned by the Consuming Industries Trade Action Coalition, steel users, such as the auto industry, its suppliers, they were harmed by higher steel prices. The steel tariffs caused at least 4,500 job losses in no fewer than 16 states, 19,000 in California, 16,000 in Texas, 10,000 each in Ohio. In other words, industries that use steel forced to pay higher prices. They raised prices in what they produce. They became less competitive. The tariff policy beneficiaries are always seen, but the victims are mostly unseen. This is the fight that we always have to fight with every new generation. It's why Reagan warned us that every generation, would be a new, chance to lose freedom. Every generation comes up and has to be taught the principles of basic economics. Isn't this really what, we have to fight every 10 years, it seems, John?
100%. I mean, this is, to borrow the language of Henry Hazlitt, the secondary consequences, right? Everybody wants to look, I'm going to pass this and this is going to happen. And sometimes what they want to happen happens. Say, look at this is what we did. This is how many jobs we created. But if you look, what are the secondary consequences? What are we not seeing that's not being created because of that legislation? What are the unintended consequences of capping credit cards at 10%? Like, who doesn't have credit? What are they doing to supplement income now? And for whatever reason, this is, they call economics the dismal science. We sort of need to get away from this idea that it's dismal in any sense. Like, we need some sort of economic education in this country. Kids aren't getting it at K through 12. I know that. The university level, like the economics I studied at university was not particularly helpful. So I would say too, the whole field of economics needs to change a little bit. Like there's so much, on the macro side, just getting people to understand basic ideas, like what we're talking about here, trade-offs. Like that's one of the simplest ideas in economics. But whatever you're doing, there is something else. If my opportunity costs, these simple ideas. If I'm spending on this, I'm not spending on these other things. People in Washington D.C. though, they don't think like that. And I think, if you look at AOC and Representative Luna, I think they would be oblivious if you were just trying to point out the secondary consequences of their policy.
Oh, they're completely oblivious, but they're hot, so it doesn't matter. So here's Walter Williams finishes this. He says, here's my question to those who want to use tariffs to fight cheap imports in the name of saving jobs. Seeing as back in 2002, the typical hourly wage of a steelworker ranged from $15 to $20 an hour, in addition to fringe benefits. So we might be talking about an annual wage package around $50,000 to $50,000. How much sense did it make for American consumers to have to pay $800,000 in higher prices, not to mention lost employment as steel-using industries to save each job? It would have been cheaper to tax ourselves and give each of the 1,700 steelworkers a $100,000 annual check. It would have been far less costly to Americans than the steel tariffs, but it would have been politically impossible. Why? The cost of protecting those steel jobs would have been apparent and hence repulsive to most Americans. Tariffs conceal such costs. I just can't deal with the retards on the tariff issue anymore, John. It's so frustrating. But, it's no fun to have to beat up on Republicans for their economic illiteracy. It's more fun to beat up on Democrats for their illiteracy. Speaking of illiteracy, this is Randy Weingarten, the head of the teachers union, talking about the potential shutting down of the Department of Education. Take a listen and then react.
Is why so many people are so mad about it, because they're just taking opportunity away from kids that don't have it. So kids of billionaires, they have it. They go to private schools. Everyone else, 90%, go to public schools. Don't take away their opportunity.
So let's stay on the facts.
Sorry,
no,
I'm
do
really
not apologize.
angry about this.
No, because this
I'm
is what
really
people
angry.
need to hear.
I taught kids in Clara Barton High School in Brooklyn, New York. Is why so many people are.
Yeah, Randy Weingarten, her tears are delicious.
It's just so painful. And listening to that clip, it makes me realize, like, so much of the modern left today, the new left, they thrive on class warfare. That's all they can talk about. Our billionaires have more than you do. And it goes back to something Churchill used to call socialism the gospel of envy. And that is really all their politics comes down to, is trying to make you resentful because some people in society have more than you do, and we need to take from them and give to you. Of course, they're really not that interested in giving to you. They're more interested in empowering themselves, whether in Washington, D.C. or the state capitol, wherever they are.
Trump is reportedly planning to shut down the U.S. Department of Education. Randy Weingarten we just watched that video. She is freaking out about it. And now it's trending online because the question is, can Trump do it? If he signs the executive order saying cut it down to its absolute most base minimum of duties necessary to keep it open, because we can't abolish it entirely because Congress created it. I mean, if I were president of the United States, John, I would do exactly what President Trump is doing when it comes to this executive order. What about you?
Yeah, and I got to look back. I hate to speak live on something, because my understanding was that Carter did create the Department of Education through executive order, and then afterwards went and got Congress involved. And that could be, if you can create a department by executive order and then get Congress, I don't see any reason why you can't abolish a department and then go get Congress as well. But I think there's two issues there. Yes, I think Trump taking actions like this is necessary. I don't think the Department of Education should exist. I don't think there's anything in the Constitution that, to me, suggests should exist. But at some point, he does need to get congressional Republicans on board. And I'd like to see Trump doing that, whipping up the votes, doing what you need to do, instead of, picking some of these other fights. Let's say, make sure that you have support and go through and get these things. I don't want to be fighting this 4 years from now where suddenly a Democratic president goes and we have the Department of Education back, the executive order. Like, get the Republican support you need to abolish departments that we don't need. And, like, hopefully Trump sees it that way. I'm going to say, like, part of me thinks he does. And this is why we're going to talk. I was talking recently with economists we're trying to understand his infatuation with tariffs. And I think it's more because I think Trump became obsessed with tariffs because it's something he can do. He has the executive power to make these changes. I think that's why he got so interested in tariffs, because he can be the bull in the china shop. He can do all this. Unlike taxes, he can't just fiddle with income tax rates, but he can have suck up all the oxygen in the room on tariffs and do these things unilaterally. I think that's why he became so infatuated with tariffs.
Yeah, speaking of
he doesn't want to meddle with Congress. He doesn't want to whip up votes. He wants to do things himself. And that's not something that I really welcome.
I mean, to some extent, I don't blame him, because look at what Congress has done. I mean, Senator Rand Paul tries to pass an amendment to actually codify the spending that Donald Trump is cutting with Doge, and the Republicans don't get on board. They want to cap credit card interest rates like a couple of retards, but they don't want to actually cut spending, do the things that are actually necessary to help people. But they get to parade around and pretend like, oh my God, we're doing so much for people, right? And the Congress has been useless. They have given their power to the executive branch, the President of the United States. In some ways, it's like Hayek's Road to Serfdom. In other ways, it's like Hans Hermann Hoppe's Democracy, the God That Failed. I mean, Curtis Yarvin, Moldbug, a lot of these, like, Bronze Age Pervin, a lot of these, like, right-wing populist people, they definitely are the people who are crying, give us a king. But here's the thing. If in Hans Hermann Hoppe's Democracy, the God That Failed, and all of the sort of pushing for monarchy, if you had a benevolent monarchy is certainly much better than a malevolent oligarchy. It's certainly much better than, a democracy where we get to choose our leaders, but those leaders are all malevolent or toothless, right? So it's like, is it bad precedent? Yes, probably. Is it mostly working out in our favor right now with the fact that Trump has some very strong libertarian instincts, despite some of the things that that you and I would agree on with, which I would say, even to some extent, I'll quibble on tariffs, but I think what Doge is doing is much more important, right? The Department of Education, trying to shutter that, it's much more important, right? I don't want tariffs, and I don't agree with, I could quibble with certain things here and there, but for the most part, the big major changes that I'm seeing out of the White House are positive ones. I even, like, as somebody who believes in freer immigration than most Republicans do, I even think that getting the border control and secured is absolutely within the purview of the President of the United States. And I think that was a good thing. As somebody who, doesn't fall under the whole, send them all back and no H-1B visas and the gold card idea, I think that what Trump is doing overall is mostly good. But in regards to how the president takes these actions, I asked Judge Napolitano this question last week. And I'm going to ask it to you too, John. I want to see what you say, because there is what is legal, there is what is moral, and then there is what is constitutional. And all three of these things, they don't necessarily align. It's not always true that something that is legal is moral. It's not always true that something is constitutional. Something is legal is constitutional. It's not, and they may not all be moral, right? So it's in considering your actions. If you were president of the United States, would you refuse to enforce IRS laws that would see you ordering raids, IRS raids on businesses, families, people who didn't pay their taxes? Would you send out the SWAT agents to kick down people's doors and enforce the income tax? John, would you do that?
I would have a very benign IRS. The IRS is a bureaucracy; it exists. Mine would be not an aggressive IRS.
But
we wouldn't have.
You'd enforce that law. You'd enforce.
Well,
that?
and again, the extent of the president is actually directing these things is that's a whole separate issue. Because let's face it, one man cannot run all these bureaucracies, right? Like, it's just not possible. I think I would want an IRS, director who is not knocking down, doors and, doing raids. And let's go back. What was it? You've seen some of these reports. How much ammunition does the IRS buy each year? Have you seen some of those? Like the ridiculous number of ammunition, like how well armed our IRS. So yeah, my IRS would not be probably the IRS in its current form.
That's such a, you just wiggled, you weaseled here. This is the.
I'm not going to say, here's that. Well, I'm not going to say that if my IRS is not going to enforce any laws. Like to me, that would be like, just because, like I happen, my own personal philosophy is different than the IRS's duty. I'm not going to say that, yeah, my IRS isn't going to collect taxes, like that wouldn't be.
What about the external IRS? Remember, Trump says he's going to abolish the internal IRS. It's going to be internal revenue service. It's going to be an external revenue service, and we're just going to charge fees to people who want to do business with the United States, and then people in the United States don't have to pay taxes. Honestly, sounds kind of good.
Don't we already have a form of an external revenue service?
I have no idea.
No, I think we do. I can't think of the name of it. But yeah, it's one of those. It was like Trump spitballs all the time and trying to figure out what's a serious idea and what's him just sort of on the bar stool, reflecting on something. That's both good and bad, right? Like let's face it, we're thinking out of the box more than we have in a long time. We're seeing, actual efforts to reduce, government. And I'm with you. Like, I think the good that's being done right now, we're seeing, bureaucracy slash. We're seeing federal employees, the numbers are going down. These are all important things. My worry is if Trump causes a trade war, his political capital is going to be gone before we know it, because Americans are going to be so angry that prices are going up, and if we see inflation ticking back up because of some of these things, he's going to destroy his own presidency through bad economics, and that's my concern.
Completely agree. Yeah, absolutely, John. I don't want to see a recession. I'm seeing articles talking about beware of a recession. People just don't understand how much consumer spending fuels our economy. Like they don't seem to. I mean, it's funny because they think that they can have Keynesian economics without consumer spending, right? Because like the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who I've read was a protege of George Soros of all people. I love it when billionaires, tell poor people like us that it's not part of the American dream for us to have cheap goods. And it's like, the first thing I did was head out to Aldi that afternoon.
I like paying less for my goods. Like to me, that's a great thing. No, there's a lot coming out right now, like the White House, that has me concerned. And this is I want Trump's presidency to be successful. And I think right now there's a lot of unforced errors here. And I think you touched on a good one. Another one, let's just look at the climate of uncertainty being created. Markets are very rattled right now. And, if you're a business, you need to be planning. And if you're an investor, you need to be planning. All these things are much harder because of this climate of uncertainty that Trump has created. And I think if he does not pivot in a way that creates more certainty, we could see a recession. And I'm old enough to remember, the first George Bush. And how his presidency was destroyed by a recession that became the dominant factor, had everyone quite scared. Now, the difference is what you had then was Bill Clinton, who ran to the center. And if you listen to Bill Clinton, like his 1992 campaign, he sounds like a Southern Republican, like all his policies. So, things have changed a lot since 1992. But the fact is, we don't want a recession. And if one had like Trump's political capital will be gone if we do see a recession.
Completely agree. We want Trump to be strong. We don't want a recession on his watch. We don't want Republicans having to take responsibility for it, especially when the midterms are just around the corner. John, you're a great guy. You join us every Monday, so much so that your segment is branded. It's Mondays with Miltimore. I love reading your Substack. Where can people read your Substack and follow you online?
Hey, check out my stuff. It's I'm on Substack all the time. The Take by John Miltimore. Read my stuff there. Sign up. It's free.
There we go. John Miltimore, you've passed my political IQ test.
It was Karl Marx, right?
With 5 callers.
I can't remember.
See you later, John. Have a great day.
Have a good week, AP.
I love you so much. but I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength. And so today I can't. I'm sorry, but I don't want that to be misunderstood. I still love you, and everything about you is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I care about you so much.
I care about you too. I love you so much. And I know I want to stay with you and keep growing our relationship if you'll let me.
We'll see. We'll talk about that. Okay. Okay. I love you.
I love you so much.
I know that the connection we have is so real, and my heart is there. But we talked about a lot of the values that I hold so close to my heart. Making this decision, my mind is telling me I can't.
Rise and fall right now. Something.
Are you okay? Okay. I'm okay. See me in the back. See me in the back. See me in the back. Okay.
Can you feel my heartbeat?
Oh my gosh. I'm fine. I'm fine. Get me out of here. No. You guys, really, I'm okay. I don't know. I feel kind of numb.
Do you?
Oh yeah. Because it's sad. Like, I was really excited about Ben. And I'm just, like, he's such a great person. I just, like...
What?
I just hope I made the right decision.
Hi, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Love you.
We
guys
love
too.
you.
It was a lot, but we're rolling with it. I just want to talk to her. Yeah.
Was it like the time frame?
I mean, I knew the whole time coming into this, the time frame, like, that's not... Like, I feel like I know him. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like, I remember... Like, I asked him about, like, Black Lives Matter, and I'm no expert. But, like, when I asked him about it, he was like, I guess I never really thought too much about it. That affected me, especially in our own city. Like, how could it not? How did it not make you think about something? I asked him, too, like, what his church's views are, and he said he didn't know. And so then I watched a sermon online.
From his church?
About, yeah, sexual identity.
Okay.
And it was traditional. I told that to Ben. And he doesn't really have much to say about it, you know? I want him to think about that stuff. Sometimes I did wonder if it was surface, fun, carefree love that we had. Equality, religion, the vaccine.
Oh, yeah. Star of the viral hit show Love is Blind is coming in for backlash over her decision to leave her reality star groom to be at the altar because he wasn't woke like her. The stunning blonde oncology nurse Sarah Carlton walked out of her wedding to Ben Mazanga in season 8 because he didn't have the same woke views as her on Black Lives Matter, gay marriage, and the vaccine. Yes. Both were dressed to the nines and moments away from tying the knot when Carlton said it wasn't meant to be because she always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength as her. Mazanga, 28, smiled awkwardly as Carlton delivered the news, and the camera panned around to numerous wedding guests whose mouths were open in disbelief. You saw the clip. I'm sorry, but I don't want that to be misunderstood. I still love you, and everything about you is amazing, and I care about you so much, she said after delivering the news. The reaction online was pretty swift, largely condemning of Carlton and supportive of Mazanga. Let's find him a nice 20-something girl. He'll look back at this and laugh, wrote Fox News anchor Laura Ingraham in an X post. Amen. He dodged a bullet, wrote Fox News' Tommy Lahren in a segment. Her BS virtue signaling is so transparent. She doesn't care about any of the stupid stuff she brought up. She just wants to be the center of attention, said another. Even after it became clear that Carlton wasn't going to marry him, Mazenga tried to save the relationship. He said, I care about you too. I love you so much. And I know I want to stay with you. Yeah, right. You just wanted to be with an 8. And keep growing our relationship if you let me. We'll see, Carlton said blithely, right? Before turning her back on her erstwhile fiance, Carlton alludes to talks the pair has had about the values she holds so close to my heart. Which is funny because when she talks about the values that she holds so close to my heart, she says specifically to her mother that she holds these values close to her heart, but that she hasn't done a whole lot of research on them. Hold on. Let's see. Let me just see. She gets in the car. Let's see this again. The values that she holds very close to her heart.
I'm excited about Ben, and I'm just like, he's such a great person. I just like.
Is he a great person?
What? I just hope I made the right decision.
Hi guys.
Come on, guys. She's at least an 8.
Love you.
We love you.
Yeah. It was a lot, but we're rolling with it. I just want to talk to her. Yeah.
Bullshit. Like
Ben
the
seems like a
time
great guy.
I mean, I knew the whole time coming into this, the time frame, like that's not, like I feel like I know him. Like really. Yeah. Like I remember, like I asked him about like Black Lives Matter, and I'm no expert. But like when I asked him about it, he was like, I guess I never really thought too much about it. That affected me, especially in our own city. Like how could it not? How did it not make you think about something?
If you're not an expert on it, why do you feel so strongly?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
The online reaction, of course, swift and divided, with a significant portion of viewers condemning Sarah for prioritizing political alignment over love. Many labeled her decision as shallow or overly woke, with comments like, he dodged a bullet, trending on platforms. Agreed. Now, on the flip side, you do want people who share your values. Some praise Sarah for standing by her values, even though she doesn't know what the hell they are. Post on X highlighted her refusal to compromise on core beliefs, with one user noting, good for her. If you have a chance to not waste somebody's time, then don't. Hold dear your morals and values that you don't really are not really an expert on and don't really know much about. So some people suggest her exit was a principled move rather than rejection out of spite. He dodged a bullet. She lost a catch. Boo, bow to the queen of slime. A few weeks ago, I may have told this story before, and if you guys have heard this story before, don't stop me. I'm going to tell it again anyway for those who haven't heard. A few weeks ago, I went skiing with my family in Weston for my birthday. It was a nice weekend. Spent some time hanging out. But when you're on a ski lift, if you've never been on a ski lift, you've got 2 choices. You can either spark up a conversation with the person that you're going to be sitting next to on your way up the lift, noting that you'll never see them again, and you're going to see that you're going to be sitting in close proximity with this person. It's a beautiful day, gorgeous day, and what are you going to do? Just not chat, talk about, I mean, you've already got something in common, so I'm always a chatter, rather than I sit there in awkward silence looking at the person. And, you know, in Snow Creek, you're not on it for very long, so the conversations, like, how do you fit in like a 3 to 5 minute conversation? But then when you're in like Colorado, it can sometimes be much longer, so it can be more awkward. You know, do you chat with the person or not? I mean, you are like smushed up against each other. I chat, I talk. And I had an occasion to have a conversation with a young man who was bemoaning his dating woes. And he was talking about how terrible the dating market was. And, you know, obviously I didn't drop any of my political opinions or anything, but we talked about how he was struggling finding a good woman to date because he says that these women today are just not what his parents' generation or his grandparents' generation were like. He says he has not been able to find a good. And this is like when I took the measure of the man, right? He's wearing all these ski clothes and stuff like that, but he looked like a healthy, athletic, you know, good-looking guy from what you could tell, like from one straight guy to another, right? It's not gay if it doesn't touch, but he looked like a healthy dude, looked like the kind of guy from 1980s. He would have been the kind of guy that a lot of girls would have wanted to hit on. The Snow Bunnies would have been all over this guy. But apparently he's struggling in the dating world. And it's because, he says, these young women have these political purity tests, which, of course, for us who are in the know, become political IQ tests in order for you to date them. And that's why I played that video clip there. Is there anything more annoying than a liberal white woman? It's a great question to ask. Tommy Lahren asks it. And that is a conservative white woman who pretends to be a conservative woman, but whenever the policies don't favor the woman, they become a raging uber liberal feminist. There are no such thing as conservative women. Sorry, ladies, but deep down, you're all feminist liberals as soon as the family court comes down. Don't touch me. There are no feminists in house fires, for example. Oh, I'm just a girl, please. There are no feminists on the Titanic. There are no such thing as conservative women. Sorry. Are there libertarian women? Yes. Will they do drugs and have a threesome? Maybe. But there are no conservative women. So Sarah's specific grievances here. Ben's lack of opinions was on Black Lives Matter, gay marriage, and the vaccine. These are the purity tests that women will place on you. And so this young man that I'm sitting next to on the ski lift, he doesn't specifically mention Black Lives Matter or the vaccine, but the word woke did cross both of our lips. We knew exactly what we were saying. He's like, so what about you, man? I said, well, I was like, as kind of a grizzled veteran old timer, I didn't give him a full blown image background of just a broad overview of my background and understanding of the fairer, gentler sex. But I pivoted to say, I've got a beautiful wife. I've got a beautiful child. We just had our first child. I've never been happier. I have a fulfilling relationship. I said, but I recognize that I am not the norm. I feel like I got the last helicopter out of Saigon and the Viet Cong are overrunning our position. Them's the truth. Them's the truth. I felt bad for him because he said, honestly, I'm thinking about dating overseas to get away from these affluent white female liberals in the United States. And he said, I'm dating a really hot Vietnamese chick right now. And I said, it's possible. It might work. I don't know much about dating overseas. I said, I did get out of the dating market, 5-6 years ago. And I feel like it was a good time to get out of it because the dating apps have made it terrible. And as women have become more polarized and become more leftist, they have made themselves unfit mates for the great men of American society. And I feel as if men are making a comeback. Even Camellia has said that this is the year of men. Earlier in the year, we were talking about now that Donald Trump has been elected, it's the year of men. Men are becoming greater, women are becoming lesser. Chris Cheese says that guy had no idea he was sitting next to greatness. That's true. It's true. The women aren't all right. And even when those white female liberals do their best to try and fit in with the woke culture in order to show that they're allies by braiding their hair, don't think that the people who you think you're allies with think you're an ally. This is how they'll treat you, ladies. Here we are.
That shit is ugly as f***. We wear that shit.
It's braids.
Take that shit out now.
Are you being for real?
Take that shit out now.
Okay, what's your problem?
Take that shit out now.
You were just in the store.
But take that shit out now.
There's a little racism for you.
That shit is ugly as fuck. That shit is ugly though. Like, look at your fucking hair.
It doesn't look bad.
That's ugly.
Hey, please stop following us.
Yeah, there's what your allies think of you.
Ugly as f***. We wear that shit.
It's braids.
Take that shit.
No, I haven't really done my homework here, but Black Lives Matter, and it's important that my husband, that my potential husband, care very deeply about the things that I haven't researched on, and I'm an ally. Let me put some braids in my hair. Here I am. I'm being an ally. Here's how your allies feel.
Are you being for real?
Take that shit out now.
Okay, what's your problem?
Take that shit out now.
You were just in the store.
But take that
Ladies?
shit out now. Take that shit out. That shit.
Yes, it's the culture. We love the culture. Speaking of culture, it's time for male-only gyms. and female-only gyms too. One woman who started a female-only gym received a backlash when, well, more than females wanted to be included in the gym. Here's her statement as a response.
In 2021, 4 years ago,
Oh God, please can I get some volume?
I made a tweet, and the tweet referenced.
I'm gonna crank it up for you guys here, so hold on just a second.
In 2021, 4 years ago, I made a tweet, and the tweet referenced my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, and being trans inclusive. Now, when I made that tweet in 2021, I had just announced my plans to open a women's only gym. I hadn't thought out the vision or the mission or what it would entail, but all I knew is that I wanted to open a gym. We are now 4 years later, and I have had a great deal of time to figure that out. The Girl Spot Gym exists as a safe space for women because women are facing gym harassment, sexual assault, and sexual violence inside of gyms. And I know that because I'm a victim of it. So the meaning of the Girl Spot Gym is now entirely different. And I say this to say that whilst we are a gym, inside we are focusing on self-defense classes, Muay Thai, boxing classes, as well as workshops and activations around PCOS, and training on your menstrual cycle, all of which occur to biological women. Majority of the women who are seeking my women's only gym, the Girl Spot, are coming here because they have faced some level of gym intimidation or sexual violence and assault that has been perpetrated by men. So as the owner of the gym, it is very important to make it clear how my women's only gym will be operating, and it will be operating as a single sex space for biological women. Now, we do believe that everybody deserves a safe space, and there are many gyms that are starting to have mixed cubicles and changing rooms so that individuals can feel safer and more included in these environments. But the Girl Spot Gym as a standalone is a female-only gym. Because it is imperative that I stick to the vision and the mission and ensure that these women feel safe.
Absolutely. No perverts or weirdos in the women's locker room. If you want to have a separate changing room, if you want to be inclusive as a gym, have a separate room for the perverts. If people want to go in there, that's their business. Make it single use, single serving for the people who, for some reason, feel that they need to insert themselves into women's locker room. As a girl dad, I say, oh, fuck you. I'll go fuck yourself. I'll kick in your fucking ass. Don't follow my daughter into the women's locker room, or don't follow my daughter into the women's bathroom, because whatever wig or weave or wobble or whatever it is that you got on your head, I'm going to pull you back by it, and I'm going to teach you how to mawashigeti. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson, and I say it's time to bring back male-only gyms and female-only gyms. You can have transgender gyms if they want, separate but equal, you know what I'm saying? Separate, but everybody know where that separate political IQ test. Where does the phrase separate but equal come from? I told the story earlier, and I'll tell it again. I was at the YMCA with Steffi on Saturday morning, and we're trying to get in our workout. And I want to be respectful of my wife. My wife and I were workout buddies. We actually really love working out together. It feels good. You know, we encourage each other. I'm like, you can do it. You know, I lead her through a warm-up and a stretch. We do our kata from our karate. We go in, we lift weights. We're working out. We're feeling good. You know, and we're normal, right? We're healthy, adults. We're people watching. We're looking at people's bodies because, we just want to see, oh, man, that person's huge, or and we're not necessarily judging anybody, although if you show up in front of me wearing underwear, standing right in front of me, I might judge you to be a little bit lacking in, I don't know, not necessarily morals, but just ethics and standards of behavior. I understand people want to work out. They want to have loose-fitting clothing, but the clothing here is almost non-existent. And I'm trying, of course, I don't want to leer, and I don't want to make somebody feel uncomfortable, that other person to feel uncomfortable, but the thing is that certain clothing does invite people to look. It's just undeniable. If a woman wears a dress and it's cut out with a giant hole in the middle and you got the double side boob on the insides, why is that? Why is it there? Why didn't you completely cover your chest? Well, you did that because you wanted it to be visible and available to look. So when I'm sitting there and I'm doing my weights and I'm doing my reps, and there's a chick who is wearing essentially what you would wear to sleep in, underwear, and then like leaning into the weights and stuff and doing their workout and like standing there in front of the mirror, like surrounded by all these dudes and people here. And like, you know, and I'm sitting there trying to work out. My wife is right here. I mean, I pull my hat down over my eyes, right? And when the chick is like leaning out in front of me, like to grab the weights and stuff, I'm like going like this. I'm looking to the left as I'm working out. And then I'm looking to the right, even though I need to kind of keep my trachea open. I'd rather be going forward, but like keeping my eyes down. And I pull it down over my eyes. I'm like, I'm not looking at this. You know, my wife is right there. I'm trying to be respectful to everyone. I want to be respectful to this girl in front of me, but it feels like she's not being respectful to me. It feels like by dressing like that and acting like that, and that be in acting in a provocative way, because I think a lot of them do act in provocative ways, these women in these gyms. It's not just creepy trans pervs trying to get into women's locker rooms. It's not just men who are, you know, being these lunks and lugheads, you know, attacking women, and that's why we need female-only gyms. There's a lot of female predators out there, and I'm here to take the side of the men folk again. Austin, you never take the girl's side. You've already got an embedded constituency. You've already got the bimbo caucus, right? Everybody's going to take AOC and Paulina Luna's side because, you know, they're hot, they're sexy, so they must know a lot about interest rates, right? That's how this works. Oh my God, stop staring at me while I bend over in front of you with my skin-tight colored outfit with no bra or underwear. How dare you? Yes, it is like that. It's like they wear the color of the leotards or whatever they wear, or like the shorts and stuff, and they're skin tight and they're the color of skin, so they look naked, right? They come in like that, it's like they look naked. It's the Young Men's Christian Association, ma'am. Get out. There's a reason why it was Eve who caused Adam to sin in the Garden of Evil. Get out, women, get out. Get these women out of the gyms. We need fat people gyms, says Brad. I hate working out in front of a gym rat with a zit for a head. There you go. Everybody start your own gyms. Everybody start your own gyms, and there we go. So, political IQ test. You guys want to finish it off? Shall we do it? All right, before we do, guys, don't forget to support the Wake Up America show by going to forlibertyshop.com. And if you have truly enjoyed today's show, get those Rumble rants in. And we've only got 12 more minutes to help to feed my redheaded baby. If I could raise beautiful girls to be good people and not to do that. Oh, God. Major stock indexes fell over 1% at the open after Trump didn't rule out the U.S. entering a recession. Jesus Christ, please, no. I voted for lower prices. I did not vote for recession. I did not. I specifically did not vote for a recession, by the way, guys. All right, here we go. Political IQ test. A conservative might argue that the welfare programs often fail because they are A, underfunded, B, they create dependency rather than self-reliance, C, they are too targeted to a specific group, or D, they lack bipartisan support. A conservative might argue that welfare programs often fail because A, they are underfunded, B, they create dependency rather than self-reliance, C, they are too targeted to specific groups, D, they lack bipartisan support. Welfare programs often fail. A, B, C, or D. That is correct. Dirty, Dirty Mike, another big winner. What do we have for Johnny? Number 9, what is a common libertarian critique of the Federal Reserve? A, it doesn't print enough money. B, it manipulates currency and distorts free markets. C, it fails to support small businesses. D, it prioritizes fiscal policy over monetary policy. What is a common libertarian critique of the Federal Reserve? A, it doesn't print enough money. B, it manipulates currency and distorts free markets. C, it fails to support small businesses. D, it prioritizes fiscal policy over monetary policy. Number 9. We got one more after this, guys. Quest Fanning, you are the winner. Common libertarian critique of the Federal Reserve is it manipulates currency and distorts free markets. We've got the last question, guys. Which Supreme Court case is often celebrated by conservatives for upholding free speech? Upholding free speech. A, Roe versus Wade, 1973. B, Citizens United versus FEC, 2010. C, Obergefell versus Hodges, 2015. Or D, Brown versus the Board of Education, 1954. Let's hear it, guys. Which Supreme Court case celebrated by conservatives for upholding free speech? A, Roe versus Wade. B, Citizens United versus FEC. C, Obergefell versus Hodges. D, Brown versus the Board of Education. Quest Fanning, you are the winner. What do we have for Johnny? Citizens United versus FEC. It's a B to drive you guys crazy. This ruling expanded free speech rights for corporations and unions, a decision conservatives often praise as protecting political expression. Did you pass the political IQ test? Did you not play? Guys, you have to pay the tax. If you didn't take the pop quiz, you got to drop a Rumble rant over there in the chat. You got to drop a Rumble rant before we go. Or here's what you do. Go to forlibertyshop.com, guys. It's the Grift Shop. Get yourself some Doge gear. You know you're going to love it. Join me and Stephanie P. in Washington, D.C. May 1st to the 3rd for the AP DC Liberty Tour. A new car! Speaking of playing political games, don't forget, Stephanie and I have a brand new show right here on the For Liberty Network. Have you heard? The bird is the word. Tuesday nights, after Culturama, 9 p.m. Central Time, you, me, Steffi, Hazel, the whole gang, we get together, we play video games. It's the Freedom Arcade, right here at rumble.com/AP for Liberty. Make sure that you guys come back and join us Tuesday nights. Have a little bit of fun. It's a little bit more adult. We're going to play games together. It's not just me and Steffi playing games. You can actually join in with us. It's a great time. So join us tomorrow night to play some more games. It's not political IQ tests. It's the kind of stuff that you can do when you're completely zoinked out of your head. Make sure that you guys join us here in Washington, D.C. for our AP DC Liberty Tour. Read all the details at forlibertyshop.com, at the Grift Shop, number 4libertyshop.com. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What, you too? I thought I was the only one," said C.S. Lewis, according to Joni Rankin. Thank you very much. When you exit through the Grift Shop at forlibertyshop.com, you're going to see that Gulf of America Shark Beach Towel. You're going to put it in your cart, or else you'll get it nice and hard. You put the For Liberty Shop Gulf of America Shark Beach Towel in the basket, or else it gets the hose again. You can buy as many as you like. You can get a bigger size. But you have to go to forlibertyshop.com. That's the Grift Shop. Support the For Liberty Shop's mission to help us to spread the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. Go to forlibertyshop.com. We'll see you guys right back in again here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing